Hi, this is Scott Arnaud, here to cover a little basic security awareness. Today we're going to talk about data breaches. So what is a data breach? Security vendor Search Security describes a data breach as, quote, an incident in which sensitive, protected, or confidential data has potentially been viewed, stolen, or used by an individual unauthorized to do so. Data breaches may involve personal health information, PHI, personally identifiable information, PII, trade secrets, or intellectual property. Another security vendor, Risk-Based Security, reported 3,930 data breaches exposing 736 million records in 2015. That sounds pretty bad. Believe it or not, that number is actually down. There were over 1 billion records stolen in both 2014 and 2015. And naturally, those numbers only include the breaches that were actually reported and/or discovered, so the real numbers are way higher. Now, keep in mind also that electronic theft, in effect, is copying. Generally, there's no overt sign of theft. It's not like someone's stealing a car and the car isn't there, or you're stolen a painting and there's a big empty thing in the frame. The data's still there, they've just stolen a copy. So how do breaches actually happen? I mean, the classic one people think of from the movies is hackers breaking into a corporate network using malware, which is short for malicious software, compromising a computer, a laptop, a mobile device, stealing passwords, eavesdropping, or maybe skimming credit card data from a point-of-sale device. These things all do happen, but there's more than that. It can also occur through, say, physical loss, or theft, or even improper disposal of something you have. Like, let's say you have a phone and you accidentally leave it in the taxi and it's got organizational information on it and it's not encrypted. That's a data breach. Likewise, let's say a giant hospital has a contractor who's doing work for them and he or she has a ton of PHI sitting on their laptop which gets stolen from their truck. That's a data breach if it's not encrypted. Now, this can also include something like dumpster diving, which, yes, does actually happen in the real world. And that can include recycling bins if someone gets in there and there's valuable information in there. Also, it can include printers and copiers, which actually have hard drives. So anything you send to be printed or copied, if it's recent, it's probably still going to be in there. And a lot of companies lease these out. So if you wind up sending it back to the leasing company and you haven't erased the hard drive first, there could be sensitive data on there. And yes, once again, that's a data breach. You could also have what's referred to as misdelivery. That's actually one word, not missed delivery, it's misdelivery. And that's sending something out to the wrong address. Generally, the way you might run across that would be an email, where let's say you're typing quickly and it auto-completes the wrong name, or you accidentally hit reply all and you send it out. Once again, data breach. It can also happen intentionally when an attacker uses what are called social engineering techniques, which are all about tricking people to give out information. This can be like an email where they're phishing, as it's called, for data, trying to sneak out stuff from you. And some cases in which that have happened include recently W-2 scams in which employees of large organizations have been tricked into sending out lists of employees' W-2 information allegedly to someone in their own company, but it was really one of these social engineering scams and they accidentally sent it out to an attacker. Again, data breach. It can also be something as simple as an unauthorized insider either viewing or publishing something they shouldn't. Let's say, for example, you're working at a hospital, you're looking at data that you are qualified to look at, you're authorized. And while you're looking at it, someone who's not authorized walks behind you and literally looks over your shoulder, aka shoulder surfing. That's actually a data breach under HIPAA. So that can also happen, let's say you're authorized to do this. Let's say you're not a very nice person and you decide, hey, wow, that condition's really funny. I've got to tell my friends about this on Facebook. You post it on social media. You're not supposed to post it, data breach. A lot of ways in which this can happen, and typically there's no warning unless you do something really obvious. So, are there relevant rules for this? Yes, there sure are, and violations can mean pretty heavy fines. A few federal laws that apply directly are the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which applies to financial institution, or GLBA, and the Federal Information Security Management Act, or FISMA. Again, these can bring heavy fines, and if this is relevant to your field, you want to be familiar with them. Now, for individual states, 47 states have laws on the books dealing with data breaches and notifications that come after them. Every state except for Alabama, New Mexico, and South Dakota. Generally, these only apply to unencrypted data, meaning if the data is encrypted when it's breached or stolen or accidentally given out, generally that doesn't trigger those laws, with one big exception. Tennessee changed its law in 2016 and has abolished what's called the encryption safe harbor, meaning if it's encrypted, it's still considered a data breach. And to add to the fun, There are a couple of what are called walls of shame for data breaches over 500 records stolen, which is not that big a breach. One is Health and Human Services, which does it for violations of HIPAA, and also the state of California does it for violations of its data breach law. Now, there are also commercial standards in place. The biggest one you may run across is called PCI-DSS, which is the payment card industry's data security standard. So if your organization deals with cards, you're going to want to know the standards in them because you'll have to deal with them. Once again, I'm Scott Arnault, and if you have any questions relating to this or other areas of security awareness, please drop me a line. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or at scott@thesecurityadvocate.com. Thank you. Stay safe.